Hey, Threadheads, you know, nothing makes my heart happy like hanging with some of my favorite folks. That's you and these guys.
Hey, Tim.
Thread up, y'all.
It's a beautiful day, don't you know? It's a beautiful day.
This is The Thread.
Welcome to The Thread. And when I say welcome to The Thread, this is The Thread. It's the people that make it happen. From those who have supported the show from day one, those who help support the show, those who've been featured on the show and have come along and become friends. It's happened all through the last 3 years. Folks that we've met along the way that have become part of the family by linking arms and joining the mission to thread up our community. You know, when we come together, we're so much stronger than we ever are apart. You know who knows that? Russ Moore. He's the worship leader at the Journey Tower Grove, and he just put a worship album together. But he didn't do it alone. He brought a few friends along.
I was really wrestling with the fact that we didn't have a whole lot of songs in our personal library. It's not that they don't exist, but we didn't have a whole lot of songs that spoke clearly about sort of the horizontal components of our faith. As a lot of that was coming on, like a lot of the things that are happening that are still kind of residually happening in society as it pertains to race relations, you know, Ferguson and Mike Brown and those kind of things really like especially profoundly affected St. Louis. And I think in many ways profoundly affected the church. And we began to ask questions about how do we relate to one another? How do we begin to talk about race and reconciliation? How do we begin to fight for unity when the church was starting to divide? And it became very clear very early that this project had to be a collaborative project. I need to collaborate with people who aren't like me, who didn't grow up like me, who don't look like me, who don't worship like me. And we need to get into some writing rooms and start having these conversations together and then putting those to music.
My initial reaction was like, wow.
Excitement.
This is a dope idea.
And when he explained to me the concept of the record, I'm like, dude, this is a deep dive.
I grew up in a small family church, minority church, so I hadn't seen a lot of diversity. Even though there are people, I'm like, I probably would never hang out with you. Like, you know, just in my mind naturally, I found myself in deep conversation, heavy conversation that was Christ-centered, and that distracted me from any lingering thoughts of why we wouldn't be able to be friends or get along or work together in any other capacity.
Well, we didn't just sit down and say, hey, let's meet up on Friday. Let's write a song about reconciliation. It was like, let's get together, and we would talk for like an hour and a half, 2 hours about, man, what have you been learning? What's been hard for you? What have you been just wanting to shake people over? And what have you been angry about? What have you been afraid of? What have you been broken over? This whole record's not just written from like one guy's perspective, from one guy's experience, but really from a collective group of people who are all wrestling around these issues and conversations.
If you really listen to the song, We Don't Love That Way, it takes you on a journey where you're faced with yourself compared to Christ, and it is a rough look. It was for me, and I've been in this most of my life.
I knew that this was something really awesome to be a part of and that it was something I would grow from.
And so I hope people, when they listen to it, they would look at their fellow brother and be like, man, we just alike. We come from different places, but what I'm hearing is that you believe this, I believe this, then that makes us at least brothers and sisters, you know what I'm saying? And we can start there.
We want to see our faith, we want to see God, we want to see the church like bringing change not only to our hearts, but like to St. Louis.
When you look at this finished product, what do you see?
Hope. Hope of what things could be like if we really, really start living the Christ model.
And the message in this whole album has been about unity and love and just coming together and just serving in ways that we couldn't serve just on our own, but in unity and under the name of the Lord, it is definitely possible.
The song says, take my hand, come and go with me. So it's this invitation that says like, this is where I need to go. And I'm aware of it. And maybe you're not aware that we all need to go to on this journey together. So out of frustration with you, rather than me yelling at you, like, hey, get your stuff together. It's like, hey, I've got a lot of stuff to get together, and you do too. let's do it together.
This album is also prophetic, and I say that a lot about it because it's actually teaching our church and those who've never heard a message in one collaborative project, it's teaching us where we go from here. We can put this on rotation. I guarantee you someone who a spectator, someone who was doubting, someone who was a bigot, someone who just was saying we'll never get along, we will never find something to all rally behind. This is a reminder that that is a lie and that we have much to rally behind.
I love this project for so many reasons. Number one, they're putting out some amazing music. But number two, the music that's being created in the hearts of those who took part in it. You heard them all say it. They've been changed by the process, by coming together, people from different backgrounds, different churches, different worship styles, coming together with one common cause, to glorify Christ. Amazing. And that's what happens when we come together. When we get out of our siloed existence and link arms and work together, that's where the magic happens. You wonder why these folks support the Thread, why they're a part of the mission? Well, I could tell you, but how about we let them tell you instead?
I don't know of any other medium that makes the effort that the Thread makes every week to bring what's good in people out.
The Thread shines this bright light on all the good that's happening in St. Louis.
The Thread is the only show that I know of, certainly in our area, but truly in our country that I found, that is threading together stories of people being united under, a kingdom calling or a kingdom purpose.
The news is great, and you'll always have it. You can get the news on your phone, but this is a show you need to put your phone down. And you need to sit and watch it because it's something that can enrich your life and make your life better.
The Thread is proof positive of what can happen when God's people focus on and prioritize the things that are actually important, which is God and people.
We need to really come together, as we say all the time in the show, and become a tighter-knit community and help each other as opposed to trying to fight and hurt each other.
St. Louis needs to pull together. They need to connect, and they have to understand that if we work together, no matter what we look like, we're going to be a better place overall.
It's just nice to find a show that is constantly on what can we do to make everybody's lives better.
I think there's a misunderstanding that the Thread is you're buying time for a segment. M1's buying time just for M1. M1's supporting a nonprofit that brings the good news to the community.
Has it brought business in? I'm sure it has. But this is the one show that I'm on that I don't require it. I don't worry whether it brings business in because I think it's the best thing for the city.
This is one of the only places on television, especially here locally, where we can see, 30 minutes of good news, 30 minutes of kingdom business, 30 minutes of people who make sacrifices every day for their neighbors, for their friends.
What I love about The Thread is how you guys highlight all the great things going on in society today that you otherwise would have no idea even existed.
The Thread is a connector, and it connects us with things that we didn't know were out there.
When we were first featured, we had just become a 501c3. We were brand new. Nobody knew of us, heard of us. We weren't even sure who we were at that time. And The Thread got our mission out.
That's probably the most beautiful thing about this idea of threading up, because people are actually threading up, and this quilt is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Television is the most powerful medium, and that's why every advertiser goes to television when they can, every politician goes to television when they can, and we found that this is a great way to get the ministry message out there quicker than most.
The Thread, this show, is a ministry with a platform unlike any other in any ministry in St. Louis.
Supporting the show would help it grow and help other communities come together as well.
It's not Tribune, it's not the Fox 2 corporation that owns this show. It is a non-for-profit organization that is trying to make a difference in our community. And it's not cheap to do television.
The Thread needs that support. Invest in it. It's like any other foundation. You're investing in their ministry.
Well, here's a perfect opportunity to support a media outlet that is actually geared and aimed towards the betterment of this city solely.
I wish I'd have gotten involved in the show earlier. I'm so glad to be a part of it. And I'm excited about season 4 and what he's talking about doing.
Hey, everybody, let's move over to the next room. We got a camera waiting. Bring your smiles. You know, I love these folks. I love partnering with them. I love being on mission with them. And stick around, because coming up after the break, we're going to tell you how you can be a part of this picture as well. Stay with us.
Our first mission is bring glory to God. That's why we're here. We have a talent. It just happens to be banking.
So M1 Bank is banking on a mission fueled by the power of purpose.
It gets a point in your life where you got to live it every day, not just believe it.
I'm believing that this is going to catch on and we're all going to thread up.
For us in our house, this is how we're going to serve the Lord and His purpose. And we're going to do it through the financial institution that happens to be called M1 Bank.
Hey, Threadheads, I cannot begin to tell you what a joy and an honor it is for us to share these stories of people serving people in our community. What an amazing gift it is. But we can't do this show without you. This is a nonprofit 501c3 entity, a ministry that we want to continue to grow and continue to showcase these amazing folks in our community, but we can't do it without you. Please support us. Go to thethreadstl.com. Help us continue the mission and continue to thread up, y'all. It's hard to believe we're in season 3 of The Thread, considering that in the beginning, Virginia and I knew next to nothing about owning a show or running a nonprofit. Circle of Advisors Securus has been a part of the Thread Circle of Advisors since day one, walking alongside us as we walk out this new journey that God has called us to. And if they can help a couple of hot messes like me and Virginia, they can certainly help you too.
Tim, we've been proud to walk alongside of the Thread, and we'd be honored to walk alongside of you too.
Now, when you say the Thread, they know what that means. And getting brand recognition is a tough thing to do. And advertisers spend a lot of money to get brand recognition. And for us to be able to have brand recognition in after the third year, I think is gigantic.
It has a way of not ignoring problems, but showing how individuals in our community are bringing tangible solutions and how God is using people to bring His tangible solutions to the table.
What's up, man? What's up, Tim? Good to see you, man. We're about to get started. Come on. Hey, everybody. This is Chris. He's our photographer, and he's the boss. He's going to give us some direction on what we need to do. It's all you, brother.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming out today. We're going to form a circle out here underneath the camera. We're going to lock arms, and we're going to link together. So I need somebody next to me and everybody at the camera right here. Great big smiles. 1, 2, 3.
You're looking at just a small portion of what makes this show go. It's people coming together, linking arms for a common purpose. And we want you to be a part of this circle as well. How? I'm glad you asked. All right, you want to hear about season 4 of The Thread? Awesome. Did I just say that? Season 4? It's hard to believe we've been through 3 seasons of The Thread. There were times we didn't think we'd make it that far, but we made it through, not in our strength, but in God's. And yours. Thanks for your support. So season 4 is going to look a little different, but in a good way. So we're going to a little different format. We're going to longer runs of new episodes, but fewer episodes overall. So we'll have our first half of season 4 will begin in mid-October and run through Thanksgiving. We'll also do a Christmas episode, and then we'll have the second half of the season run from March through Easter. That gives us an opportunity to not only grow the show, but the other parts of this ministry. So our presence on social media is going to grow. We'll be able to reach people, even when we're in season, when we're not, to try to reach them behind the screens they're behind and draw them into community, give them a taste of what community is all about, which leads us to our other vein of the ministry, which is our public outreach, getting out into the communities, threading up our communities one by one. We've also got a brand new partnership with Missouri Baptist University. 3 of their senior independent studies students are going to be working directly with us from their communications department to market The Thread. That's their project for the year, to market The Thread, to help get the word out that we're not a Fox 2 show. We're a 501c3 nonprofit that has a unique platform on Fox 2, but we're a nonprofit that needs support. We're also bringing on some staff to help in the administration. I mean, we're bringing on someone who can do in 5 minutes what takes me 5 hours. That's going to be huge to help us grow the ministry. We're also strengthening our production team to streamline it so everybody's stepping into their sweet spot to make this thing really sing. We're so excited about the season, but we need your help to do it. Again, we're a 501c3 nonprofit. We need help to keep this mission going. And we want to, and we would love for you to come alongside us. And it's not the overall big gift that makes it happen. I was just in Jerseyville recently for a 500 men breakfast. I was speaking there, and Steve Pegram with Got Faith, who puts on the event and does an amazing job. After I'd finished speaking, he called some individuals up and he said, I made some calls at the last minute. We just put a little something together for you. And it was 10 individuals, churches, organizations with oversized checks. And as they turned them around, each one said $100. Just in that morning, there was a $1,000 gift to the Thread. That's what we're looking for with this show. It's not just the one big-time gift. We want a groundswell of support, start growing a deep foundation of individuals and families that are coming along to walk with us in the Thread. And now's a unique opportunity to do it because we've had a generous gift from a donor of $40,000. But they want to challenge. They want to challenge others to match that gift, to see if we could put out a challenge to our viewers and supporters to match that $40,000. This is a great time to support the Thread. If you've ever thought about it and wanted to do it, now's the time. And look, here's an idea. What if a monthly gift of $13.34? You say, why $13.34, Tim? Well, that's a reminder of the verse that fuels this mission on this show and has from day one. John 13:34, Jesus says, a new commandment I give to you, love one another. As I have loved you, love one another. What a great reminder that would be if you saw on your bank statement at each month, $13.34, and you're like, 13, oh yeah, John 13:34. That supports the Thread and reminds me to love others as I've been loved. So will you walk alongside us? Will you help us try to get that match, and will you help us move into this season and grow? Grow to what God is calling us to do in this ministry. It's time to thread up, y'all. Hey, Threadheads, you no doubt know Don Brown.
Don Brown Chevrolet. Don Brown Chevrolet. Don Brown Chevrolet.
And you probably know that Don has a flair for fashion and a knack for cars, but he also has a heart for people.
I learned from my father a long time ago, it's not about one person, it's about the entire community. It is a car business, but it's a people business. It's about the people. It's not about the products, it's about the people.
If you're in the market for a car, come to Don Brown, where it's people over process.
And we're proud to be part of the Thread family, and we'd love to be part of your family.
Hey, Threadheads, welcome to Season 3. I hope you're enjoying the show. We're so thankful to be here each and every Saturday morning on Fox 2. But we want to let you know, this is not a Fox 2 show. This is a nonprofit, independent 501c3 show. And we need your support to keep it going. Please go to our website, thethreadstl.com, hit the donate button, and help support this mission. If you believe in what we're doing, please help us continue to thread up, y'all. Hey, Threadheads, thanks for joining us this morning. Are you picking up on a theme here? We're like bringing joy, creating community, transforming lives. That's what this show is all about. We are so much stronger when we come together than we ever are when we separate and divide. We want to continue this mission. We want to help this city thread up and be the most it can be. So, you want to be a part of the team? You want to help us on that mission? Go to thethreadstl.com and learn how you can be a Threadhead and help us thread up, y'all. What? Our time's almost up together already? You mean I gotta wait till next Saturday? That's way too long. We gotta catch up during the week. I got a great idea. Hey, why don't you follow us on social media? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You know, we've got content that doesn't actually fit on our 30-minute show, right? And we're adding new messages all the time. So follow us, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's our way to keep up with you throughout the week. And we can thread up all week long. Follow us, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. See you soon. Hey, thanks everybody for coming. Good seeing y'all.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Tim.
Let's not make it too long till we get together again, all right?
Got it.
All right, take care. You know, I love gathering with these folks. Special, special people. But it's even more beautiful when we're sent and scattered. We don't gather to stay in one place. We gather to strengthen each other up and then go out and share what we've shared with one another with the rest of the world. You know, we're being sent. The show, The Thread, is being sent in a special way, in a different way in this new season. We're being hollowed out kind of like an olive tree. What do I mean by that? Well, M1 Bank was in Israel over the summer, and they brought back a tree trunk of an olive tree. And the story, well, it's kind of like our story.
So we were blessed to be able to travel to Israel for 2 weeks back in March. And about halfway through our trip, we came to an architect, a carpenter shop, and he specialized in olive wood. And my daughter London said, well, what about this piece for the bank?
And I was like, Ken, like, we have to get this. And he was like, eh. And I was like, no, it's perfect for the bank. It's symbolic of just everything that M1 does and says.
We realized how symbolic and how much it would represent what we've accomplished in M1 Bank and what we believe that the Lord wants to do through this bank. After much deliberation, we decided that the tree was meant to come home with us. The olive tree dates all the way back to Genesis, and the olive tree in Genesis was symbolic of peace and the covenant promise that the Lord had made with the people never to flood the earth again. It was a sign of vitality, of life, of peace, of strength, endurance, growth, perseverance. What I love about the olive tree is the amount of references that there are to it in the Bible, especially the process of being pressed and how olive oil is made. I feel like when we're pressed, that what's coming out is fruit from Him. We had actually learned that this is a 4,000-year-old tree, which is how the trunk became so large, that the roots are so deep and so wide and so great that it can sustain a trunk or a body that's completely hollow. In order for the olive tree to continue to produce new fruit, it has to hollow itself out. Building this bank and what we did, we had to really hollow out and let go of a lot of things and just stuff from the past, and so in order for new fruit to be birthed.
It just taught me so much more, like how I need to trust God even in my hardships, because everything happens for a reason and He's always there for me, even though I can't see Him, but I have to have faith.
I felt like was symbolic of what we are trying to build here at M1 Bank, and we want to create a life structure and a platform and something that will withstand for a long, long time, and will continue to deeply root ourselves into the community and into the work that the Lord has before us.
What a great symbol of everything that M1 Bank has gone through to get where they are. That olive tree trunk is just so symbolic, but it's also symbolic of what's happening with the thread right now. That whole hollowing out. It's interesting, right, that as the olive tree grows taller, it hollows in the middle, but it can only withstand that because the roots are so deep. I feel like that's what's happening with the thread right now, is we're being pruned, we're being hollowed out, but it's only so that we can grow taller, grow stronger. In John 15:2, Jesus says that every branch that does not bear fruit, Father takes away. But even those that bear fruit are pruned so that they can bear more fruit. Pruning requires cutting. Things are taken away, but only so they can bear more fruit. With us going to a more limited number of episodes from the thread, it's just allowing us to bear more fruit. We're being pruned so that the ministry of the thread can grow. We're trying to grow all those areas, not only the television side, but the social media side and the public appearances and the public outreach, being able to get into the communities. That pruning sometimes doesn't feel so good, but it's really so we can bear more fruit. And the fruit that we're bearing with the thread, it's gonna be amazing. And listen to what that says. Everything that bears fruit is pruned. If we weren't being pruned, we'd just be taken away, thrown into the fire, just chaff, just kindling for the fire. But we're not. The thread is absolutely bearing fruit. And so it can bear more fruit. We're being pruned, being honed in, being hollowed out. And what kind of fruit are we looking to bear? More outreach into the community, more opportunities to thread up our community. I mean, look at that example of the Kingdom Sessions that Russ Moore and all of those artists put together. I mean, talking about more than 12 co-writers, more than 70 musicians from 10 U.S. cities representing more than 24 different churches from different denominations with different worship traditions coming together to put that together. It takes collaboration. You and I each have a little piece of the truth, and we only get a fuller picture of the truth when many of us come together. Because you share your bit of the truth and I share my bit of the truth, and then we get a fuller representation of what the truth really looks like. Rush shared with us a story that his friend told him, and a thing that his family had lived by. He said, look, if you want something done quickly, do it yourself. If you want it done right, get a group together. Because we all don't do everything really well. We're expanding the group, and we need your help to do so on the thread. We need you to come alongside us and walk with us, to bring your piece of the truth, to help support us in this as we go out and bear the new fruit that Christ has called us to bear. And what is that fruit? What's the fruit of the Spirit? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, mercy, self-control. And then when that is in us, it's able to spill over to all around us. And we can go out and share the love of Christ with everyone else. You in? You want to help us out? Come alongside and help support the thread. It's time to thread up, y'all.
There is nothing else that connects people in the same way as television, and there's no other television that's focused on good.
And you welcome people into community. You welcome people into doing this life together.